Hey friend, Sean with guidedproductions.com, and welcome to episode 4 in our series, How to Film a Video from Scratch. Now, up to this point, we've crafted our tailored message, we've scouted our isolated location, and of course, we've talked all about the gear needed to bring our idea to life on screen. So today's gonna be all about the setup. That's right, we're talking lights, mics, and camera, but not in that order. We'll go camera, lights, then mic. I'll get into that in a minute. I'm really excited to walk you through this process. I think you'll find it really simple and easy to use or easy to follow, and hopefully that'll be encouraging to you, especially if this is your first time getting up and running. A couple of things to note though, I am gonna be filming on my lanai or my back porch. Again, I wanna shoot a welcome video for guidedproductions.com that will live on the website to help validate folks who are kind of checking things out that they're in the right place. And my idea for this is to create a feeling or atmosphere of almost like having a conversation over a cup of coffee. And so I'm looking for something that's gonna be warm and inviting. And the location I've chosen is the lanai because I've got some palm trees back there. And my intent is to film early in the morning as the sun's coming up. It casts a really neat glow on those palm leaves. And it just creates a really warm and inviting atmosphere. So the first component that I will always start with in my setup is going to be the camera. And the reason that is true is because I need to be able to see everything that's in the frame, right? I want to be able to remove distractions ahead of time, make sure I really like the backdrop and everything I've got going on back there. Before even I start bringing in lights, the time of the day is going to affect my lighting setup. And then with my microphone too, I just want to make sure there aren't going to be any weird shadows coming in. And so those are the things that I'll be looking for. And the reason that I start with the camera first. So why don't we get into it? Let's head to my backyard and I'm going to start the setup process starting with the camera. Let's get into it. All right, friend. Well, welcome to my backyard. Welcome to my lanai. If you came over for a cup of coffee, this is absolutely where we'd be sitting and having an epic conversation. A couple of things to note. It didn't look this neat and tidy before I turned the camera on. I did come out ahead of time and remove the kids' toys. I moved some things around just to make it look like a more inviting environment. And of course, I'm removing the distractions there as well. Now, I know I said that I always start with the camera as the first piece of equipment. While that is true, I need to know where my subject, AKA myself, will be sitting in proximity to where I position everything else. So I'm gonna grab the stool first. I knew I wanted to be centered in the frame, so I put my stool down. I'm leaving a lot of space between myself and the backdrop, and part of that is because the lens I'm using doesn't have a large enough aperture. The shallow depth of field that I want where it bokehs out or it blurs out the backdrop, it's just not as prevalent as I'd like it to be. And so I'm removing myself from the background. I'm distancing myself from the backdrop to help my camera understand where the subject is in relation to the backdrop. And hopefully that'll help kind of blur things out a bit more and create a lot of that separation that I'm going for. The next thing I'm gonna do is bring out my camera, of course, and I'm setting that up, again, distancing myself from the subject. And a lot of this is due to the fact that I'm gonna be filming on either a 35 or 50 millimeter lens. It still gets pretty tight on the subject, so I just wanna leave enough space that I get everything that I want in the frame, and I can always crop in later as I edit. But for today, this is what I'm seeing so far. Now, I won't get too far into the camera specifics. I really just wanna make sure that my subject is centered and clear, that the focus is looking good. I feel like I have a good frame that's free of distractions, and that's about all I'm doing with my camera today. The next thing I want to grab are my lights. And the reason I'm not going with my mic yet is, again, with shadows and things like that, I need to be able to see what lighting is going to be affecting me before I start bringing in other components. So I know that I want to start with a key light. I know that I'm going to need a fill light to kind of balance in some things from the other side. But this is where things look a little bit different. If you remember that lighting chart that I showed last week, I'll put it up here if you don't. This was a typical 4-light setup, right? I have my key light, my fill light, I have a background light, and then a practical light. Now in this instance, because I'm outside, my background is already lit by the sun. So I don't need a background light. And because I'll be filming in the morning, it's gonna create this warm tone, this golden look on the leaves of the palms that will also kind of act like a practical light in and of itself. There's a lot going on back there. There's enough interest that I didn't feel the need to also put in a practical light or try to light the backdrop from the other side. I think we'll be able to achieve that warm and inviting look that I've been going for just by allowing that natural light to come in from the back. Now, the one thing to consider, the sun is very bright. Even in the morning, as it comes up over the houses, it's gonna offer a lot of light on that backdrop. And so I need to make sure that I, myself as the subject, am brighter than the backdrop. And that's why I'm bringing in a couple of lights close to me so that I can separate myself from the backdrop. First thing you'll notice is I have my key light very close to the camera. It's almost straight on, but a little bit off to the side. This is gonna be the biggest and brightest light on my face. I also have a small RGB light that's just casting white light as well. You'll see that here. And the reason I do this is my softboxes are not very strong. And when competing with that outdoor natural light, some of that light is lost. And so I need to make sure that I'm flooding myself with the right amount of light. Now, my fill light is the same looking softbox you'll see, but I'm positioning it down and a bit further away from me. So it's not gonna cast quite as bright of a hue as I would get from, say, my key light. And I'm doing this intentionally so that I have a bit of separation on my face. Again, I don't need a background light. The sun's doing that job for me, and I'm not gonna add a practical light because I think that would be too confusing, too distracting. I think the palm trees in the back are gonna do just fine. Now that our light is set up, let's move on to our mic, right? Let's get our audio in place. So I grab my mic stand, I position that somewhere around where the stool is gonna be. Of course, I sit down on the stool and I bring the mic closer or further away from me. It's a little more challenging because I'm the director, I'm the subject. I can't really view what's in camera while I'm setting this up. So it does take a little bit of back and forth to make sure that I've got it right in the right place that's gonna capture the best audio, but also not be in the frame. And so what we're looking for here is we want the mic to be just out of frame, almost resting on top of the frame. And we want that mic to be aimed down at the upper chest, not right at the mouth. That's where you get a lot of the sibilants, the S's, the harsh sounds of the vocal. You want it right at that upper chest so that you get some more of that upper chest resonance and creates a much more full, clear, articulate sound in speech. And so I'm just gonna fiddle with the microphone until I get it in a position that I think looks best, and then I'll run over to the camera, make sure that it's not in the frame. And when I'm happy with that, I'll grab my Zoom H4 Essential. This is my field recorder, so when I'm filming outside or outside of my studio space, I'll just use this recorder. I can plug it right in. It supplies the 48 volts of phantom power to my microphone required. And of course, it has the micro SD card that audio is recording to. Now, I do want to point out a couple of audio features within the handy recorder here itself. Obviously, you may be using a different device, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to go into my mic line 1 input and make sure that my phantom power or my 48 volts of external power is on or activated. It looks like it is here, so we're good to go. I'm also going to pull up my mixer because I want to make sure that my recording levels are peaking somewhere about 75% up the meter, up the scale there. We don't want it too hot or too high up where it starts to clip. Back in the days of analog audio, the clipping created a kind of a neat, warm, distorted effect. If you listen to music of the 80s, you'll notice this quite a bit. But once we move to digital recording, you start clipping and it does not sound good, especially with speech. We want to make sure that we keep our levels low enough that we have some headroom as we add in our compressor, our EQ, and maybe some other audio effects to clean up that audio in post-production, which we'll get to in our next series, how to edit a video from scratch. All right, my friend, now that we've got our audio device triggered and ready to go, we've got our lights set up for both our subject and of course the backdrop, and obviously we've got our camera in place. We know everything is in focus. The next logical thing to do here is to hit record. So come back next week where we're actually gonna walk through production day. Yes, we finally made it to the point where we're gonna film a video together. I'm so excited. We'll walk through a couple of tips to look for during production. Then we're gonna move into a portion where we'll talk about things to look out for, things to do after production. And then we'll kick off our next series, how to edit a video from scratch. And we're gonna take this awesome footage that you've generated in part 1, bring it over to part 2, where we'll drop all that footage into Premiere Pro, and I will walk you through the entire editing post-production process so that you can publish a professional looking talking head video that will impress the people around you. Friend, if you've not already gotten your 6 steps to creating better video guide, just go to guidedproductions.com/bettervideoguide or click the link in the description below. I've outlined everything from idea to export to help you along your video journey. It'll certainly help you with this project, but I know it'll be beneficial for you in projects going forward. So that's what I've got for you, friend. Thanks for hanging with me again, and I will see you on another video real soon.